When last we left our heroes, Nara the Drow Sorceress, Asmo the Sneckman Fighter, Wolfgang the Angelic Warlock, and Danir the Catman Wizard, they were entwined in the mystery of the murder of 2 dead sorceress students from Danir's Academy of the Arcane. Kylan Frost and Aiden Moore had been found eviscerated with body parts scattered throughout the city of Silver Rock, while their classmate Gideon Rook was thankfully found alive, though in critical condition thanks to Nara's swift action. Asmo had taken Hans Bergen, a prime suspect and known anti-sorcerer conspirator, into custody, but during his interrogation, Hans broke loose and attacked Asmo, though the attack proved to be only a minor inconvenience to the world-weathered serpent sheriff. Danir used his knowledge of dream magic to enter into the mind of the unconscious Gideon Rook, and found that his mind had been impaired due to some form of chemical enchantment. Seeking answers from local potion masters, Nara, Wolfgang, and the former assassin Talia split up to search for a lead. And while Nara made a great impression on the shop owner in the Lowtown slums, and Wolfgang got a free sample from Cherryweather's apothecary uptown, it was Talia who may have stumbled upon something significant at Clyburn's whimsy. Leaving Wolfgang with the intel that Clyburn would be stopping by the Kylum Diaboli in the morning for a face-to-face, what Wolfgang found as he approached was not what he expected. Clyburn seemed to be under the effect of some deadly poison, and only through Wolfgang's quick thinking was he spared from Mother Death's domain. Asmo and Nara, you awaken around the same time, which is unusual. Asmo managed to get to sleep a bit before you did, so I guess he got that couple of hours in before you did. But for the both of you, go ahead and give me a Constitution check real quick, just to see who gets up first.
Constitution.
Oh man,
I know, opening it up right away. I'm keeping you on your toes today.
I don't
21.
like that at all. How
21.
dare you.
God damn.
This is a Constitution saving throw, you said?
Just a check.
What? No,
just a regular
well,
old
waking up next to
Constitution.
Nara, it might be.
So Nara, you do get up first. So you're able to startle Asmo however, or wake him however you wish.
She will, like a spider, poise over top of Asmo so that her face is just right in front of his.
Asmo, as your remaining eye slowly opens due to the sun glinting through the cracked shade of your window, you see Nara's face, almost nose to snout with you.
Asmo's eyes just slowly open, then quickly open real quick with very tiny little black irises in the middle. Like Malcolm in the Middle kids being opened up. Remember that when she just and opens up the window, opens up the blinds, and pulls the covers off, and they go, "Ah!" They all scream in tortured pain. It's not like just the eyes look like that, but he just goes like, "God, what is? I know it's morning, but which morning? Was I asleep for days, or why are you so close?"
She gives the tiniest, fastest, like, smooch on the side of his face, and then, like, scuttles away.
Like a spider?
Yes.
She crawls under or something, didn't she? Great.
Just
great now.
Crab walks away, snipping her hands.
Yeah, Correct.
You just see him, like, his jaw just down, because when Asmo yawns, it's a wide yawn. Like, tongue rolls out. You just know exactly what drives a guy crazy. She's like spider walking away.
She just, like, scuttles out of the room and then peeps back in and waves.
And Asmo just says to himself, "Drow." I don't know. I mean, they're spider. They live with spider people. Like
they do. They are in fact fans of spiders.
Yeah, it's just like. What time did you get in? Last week or last night?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
Oh, it's okay. I barely paid attention what time it was anyways. The guy we brought down to the station last night, was helpful until he wasn't. And, it's currently...
Kill him?
No. I could have, but I didn't.
Oh.
Well, come on. I need him to actually talk here. And he's being difficult, but he's had another however long I've been. He's yawning again. Sorry, he's coming off drugs right now still, so when I get down to the station, I have no idea what condition he's going to be in, but it's probably not going to be the best.
We do have the guide now, so we can always talk to him dead, too.
Now, there is that. That's well, actually, strokes the chin going, that's true, and it's not untrue.
You wouldn't be on drugs anymore then.
That's true. He's not on drugs right now, which is probably the last thing he wants. Yeah. That's good. How was your night, though?
I made a friend.
You did. That's either good or bad, depending on the friend. Which friend did you make?
It was Peter Popham,
Peter
the potion
Poppins?
place.
Peter Popper? The potions guy?
Yeah. Yes.
The guy with the
That's
face?
One. Yes.
My God.
He was very helpful. I made a friend.
Her eyes are darting around,
Do you not remember the...
like deciding what information to say. It's not very well hidden, so you don't even need to roll an insight. She's bad at hiding it from you.
What are you not saying right now? It's like you're about to say something, and I've heard you say some crazy things, babe. But like, what are you trying to avoid saying right now?
He is very nice, and he gave me potions.
Well, he's a potion seller. He's supposed to sell them. Did you steal? Did you steal
No, I
from
bought
him?
them. I bought them. I did not threaten him.
I didn't ask if you had. You just brought up how you didn't threaten him at all, which leads me to believe that he might have... Was a threat implied accidentally?
No, I don't think that I did. I'm thinking about it now, though. I don't think...
I'm glad you're doing it now. I hope you were doing it during the moment. Asmo's... Alright, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go have a shower.
Okay.
That's all I know. So if you figure out who it is, come tell me. Otherwise, I'll be back in a few. Oh, boy.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't know anything, so it's fine.
Neither do I.
Asmo's walk up the stairs.
Okay, have a good shower. Bye.
Okay.
She smiles to herself like he has no idea.
Got him. So, Nara, what are you going to do now?
Let's see. All that she needed to do was go to talk to Peter Popper, right?
That was what you were going to do last night, yes.
Is Dedra with us or back at the school? I forget.
She's at the Arcane Academy.
Okay. Yeah. So Nara will go check in with Well, she'll probably wait for Asmo to go check in with Wolfgang and report back on what she found at the Emporium.
Okay. Asmo, would you do anything other than that after you take your shower?
Yeah, that's what Asmo will do as well.
All right. Then as you guys leave your house...
If he's going to take a minute, what was she researching last?
Why kids love that Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh my God.
That's a pretty high investigation check.
Well, no one knows.
Probably another language. What language? You already learned Draconic. Oh yeah, I forgot that's what I didn't put in here. Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait. How do I... Oh. Okay, she learned Draconic.
Mm-hmm.
What does she not know at this point?
Crochet?
Can I just roll on it and assume that we have, like, wait, isn't there a gnomish language?
I mean, yes, it's rarely spoken.
The one for the people who are in the mines below us?
Oh, you already speak Undercommon.
Ah, that's right. Man!
You speak that naturally.
Which one does she not know?
There are a lot of languages, honestly, many of which
Dwarvish.
are very... Dwarven.
And
Do you have a book to learn Dwarven?
Would there be one in the city that she could have acquired at some point?
I'll say, since you haven't actively gone out of your way to look for it, you just don't have it right now. But yes, you probably could.
Okay, then that's on the list.
All right.
So for now, she'll twiddle her thumbs.
And as Asmo returns from his shower, all shiny and clean, you guys head out into the city and start moving towards the Kylum Diaboli. As you get to the Kylum Diaboli, however, you see kind of an awkward sight. There's a crowd of people around, just very... Hold on, I'm trying to find the right sound for this. There we go. There's a crowd of people gathered at the Kylum Diaboli, around a man who appears to be kind of like choking on his own tongue. Like a flash, you see Wolfgang dash into this crowd, grab something out of his pocket, and then like just throw his hand up against this guy's throat, which shines with a brilliant radiant light that, Nara, you kind of have to block your eyes from. You've been on the surface world for a while, but whenever Wolfgang uses his radiance, it's difficult for your naturally dark vision attuned eyes to look at. The man seems to mutter a few things to Wolfgang before falling unconscious.
So this is happening outside the Kylum Diaboli, like in the foyer, or like just right outside the entrance?
Just outside the courtyard, just outside the gates.
Asmo kind of like pushes through the people with Nara to see what the fuck's happening.
All right. You're able to kind of like shove your way through pretty easily. You got
Excuse me, Sheriff coming through.
Yeah, you got your cloak and badge on. People kind of move to the side as you get to Wolfgang. Wolfgang, Asmo, and Nara have reached you.
Yeah, Wolfgang would just be holding this man, his blood covering his outfit now, and he had just ordered for medics to come by and come see me. He looks up at Asmo and Nara, and he lifts the man to his feet, allowing him to use his arms as sort of like a bracer. I don't even know if he's conscious at this point.
He's stable but unconscious. You managed to save his life, but what poison was there seemed to have done some damage.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have him. I'm just gonna be carrying him basically.
All right, yeah, you got him kind of like hunched over your shoulder, like kind of like a half fireman's carry. You still got that belt of giant strength.
I still have the belt of giant strength. Yes, my strength is a 21 right now.
Yeah, I know.
This man.
Belt of giant strength.
This man is.
For all I know, the mayor of this city just beat the shit out of a random person. I'm just like, well, I mean,
nothing to see here. Everybody move back. You probably deserved it.
Job is stressful. I mean, like, all right, Wolfgang, do hospital, like, medical
Follow
or
me.
jail? Oh, okay.
And I'm bringing him further into the Kylum Diaboli.
As you bring him into the courtyard, the cadets that are guarding the gate, who were very nervous about this whole situation ongoing, are like immediately kind of take the cue and kind of like stop other people from entering and following to see what's going on. So you got yourself a bit of privacy in the courtyard as you begin to carry him closer to the main entranceway of the Kylum's building. You can see people scrambling around, and a couple of clerics are running out to assist you with this man.
Yeah,
Asmo will put his arm around the other guy and like pull up the other side.
Yeah, I'm just going to lead him to a large flat surface that we can lay him down on.
There's
like a table
little
or something.
Yeah, there's a little work table near the training yards where people would set out the weapons that they'd be training with. That's a large and sturdy enough surface to set him on.
Yeah, if there's anything on it, I just knock everything off of it.
Yeah, it's still quite early, so nobody's out here in the training yards just yet.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a very close eye on him, make sure he's still breathing.
His breaths...
I'll administer a little bit of healing as I can as well.
Yeah, his breaths are shallow as the medical clerics move over to him and start, examining, doing their tests and applying what healing they can also give. He is stable. His breaths are shallow. He's got his brow is beaded with sweat. His mouth still kind of sticky with blood that he was coughing up.
Yeah, before they even get over there, I'll just administer my healing hands ability, and he'll heal for 12.
Just by doing that, his breathing seems to slow down significantly. Like he's in a much better state.
This man was supposed to meet me this morning about the potion bottle.
As I was just sitting there going like,
when did you talk to him last?
I didn't talk to him. I sent Talia to go talk to him.
Have you speak to Talia since you sent her?
Yeah, she gave me a full report. I think she might have been I don't know, but I think someone might have found out that he talked. Or was going to talk.
Above game, who is this? And does Asmo know?
This man, he's
Clyburn?
the owner, Clyburn. He's the owner of Clyburn's Whimsy. You can give me a, what would this be? Investigation check to see if you know his full name. Any of you can.
Oh,
I'm not risking that investigation roll.
Sorry.
Not
Oh,
with
risk
that
it?
-1 modifier.
Investigation.
I like rolling dice.
Oh, wait. Oh, multiple of us can, or just one?
You can as well, Nara. I'd say you at a disadvantage just due to
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
due to the nature of
just
your
wanna see how it goes.
business in town.
Oh, yeah.
17. Actually, not a bad roll.
4, either way.
Wow, impressive.
thanks.
Asmo and Wolfgang, it actually makes sense that you might know him. Wolfgang, just because you're familiar with many of the vendors in town. This man is Auric Clyburn. Auric.
Auric Clyburn. From what I gathered, this is our guy. He knows something.
Okay, was he assaulted out front of the Kylum Diobola? Did he show up assaulted? Like, what happened here?
He was standing outside the Kylum. When I got there, he was having trouble breathing. I rushed up to him as quickly as I could, used Greater Restoration on him, and then he must have spat up whatever was poisoning him.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like poison, so he vomited it all up the best you know?
He just sort of looks at his, blood spattered outfit.
I mean, that's blood. That's blood, you know. Okay, so I need to tell you, this guy doesn't need to be put under protective custody right the heck now.
Sorry, how long ago did this happen? Like seconds or minutes?
I think it was.
You managed to find this scene ongoing. You're not sure how long ago he was poisoned, but the incident where he was found happened as you guys walked up to the Kylum.
Nara's gonna hop on her pixie stick. And
It's too early for pixie sticks.
it's too late. She's already on
shit.
it, and she's going up and eyeing the crowd and seeing who is trying to leave or be inconspicuous as
Awesome.
this goes on.
Go ahead and give me. Let's see. Still relatively recent. Give me a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay. I knew I waited too long.
It's not about
17.
17 is still quite good.
Less.
Unfortunately, it looks like,
No.
well, there's still a large crowd of people gathered around the front just looking in like, oh, what's going on? What's happening in there? Is that guy fucking dead? And there are people that are kind of like looky-loos walking by, just turning their head on their way to do their business in town. Nobody looks incredibly suspicious out of this current group.
Okay.
Or any of the nearby people or any of the people kind of walking around the town square.
Then she will if it's not immediately obvious, she'll fly back down and start looking over Auric to see if there's any indication of, like, is there like a puncture mark? Is there liquid near his mouth? Or, like, on his clothing that would indicate, like, what happened at all? Basically, like, just trying to figure out if there's any traces left behind of what might have happened.
That would be, let's see, to look for any, like, specific types of puncture marks. I would give you an investigation with advantage due to your knowledge of assassination techniques.
Okay.
Anybody else who makes
15
one...
either way. Why? What's happening?
That's actually enough. You're able to find, kind of on the scruff of his neck, behind, like, a little ponytail he has on his neck, there is a very thin needle-like dart, kind of the size of, basically kind of the size of a toothpick, just kind of right on the back of his neck, just kind of in the back of his neck meat.
She will, take her, like, a clean part of her dress, put it over her fingers, and pluck it out, and look at Asmo and Wolfgang.
What's that there? Well.
Some sort of blowgun.
Closer at this, is there any residue potentially left behind?
I think that would be a medical check.
Okay. 20.
God
Nice.
Damn. You're familiar with various types of poisons and stuff. You had been utilizing them since you were little, back before you were big enough to take on full-grown prey with your own with your own blade. And this is a very familiar poison concoction. It is a mixture of various spider venoms and cave fungi that is native to the Underdark. This is what you would call drow poison.
Oh.
What?
So wherever
what
they
would
got
I know about?
Well, it's... What would you know about that particular poison?
Yeah, like, who all has access to it, or is it pretty readily accessible?
It's not super readily accessible on the surface. There are obviously spelunkers and cave dwellers that will go and bring back materials and things like that, adventurers and the like. It is a rarer poison on land. So, as to, like, who might have access to it, anybody with this type of poison is probably either very well off financially or an expert in their field.
Did I see anything like this in Peter Popper's?
The strongest poison he had was wyvern poison, and wyvern poison is stronger than this. So, you don't know if he has this particular... You didn't see if he had this particular poison in there or not. I don't think you were looking for it specifically.
She wasn't looking for it specifically. She was just looking everything over. Would Talia have access to something like this?
Possibly. Anyone who's familiar with the Underdark and has any knowledge of potion craft or, like, poison craft, chemistry, might be able to synthesize something like this. The delivery method is a bit suspect because it's basically like an acupuncture needle. Something where if you jab somebody with it, it might itch, but they wouldn't really feel it going in,
Does this method of poison delivery seem familiar to me? Does Nara know someone who functions this way, using this type of needle?
You've never run across this before. No.
Okay. Then she will look up to Wolfgang and Asmo.
It's drow poison. Whoever is using it, I haven't seen it delivered this way before, but they're either very good at what they do, or they,
What?
it's just not very common here.
What
Either
other
way, we need to
drows
get him
aside
inside.
from you have access to this right now?
Let's go inside, there's a crowd.
I thought we were inside. Sorry.
Do we go in?
You're in the courtyard right now.
Yes.
Nobody, like, you have, like, a wide berth. The only people around you right now are the 2 clerics that are looking him over and making sure he stays stable. They give you a look and say, he is okay to be moved.
All right,
Then
let's get
let's
him
take
somewhere
this
secure.
indoors.
We'll get him to an open cot. And they begin to, one, like, hooking under the shoulders, one carrying the legs, begin to carry him in.
Now that Nara has pulled out this little needle, she is holding it discreetly away down at her side, but she is going to take one more scan over the crowd to see, like, who is paying attention and if she can catch anyone watching without that looky-loo interest.
Let's go with, because you've already seen the people, so now giving a scan from street level, give me a, let's say an insight with disadvantage.
Okay.
God
23.
damn.
Oh my god!
This is Nara's business, everyone.
Rolling
I'll
hot tonight.
I'll say with that roll, you see a lot of very curious and concerned faces looking in. None of the faces directly outside look suspicious.
Then she will make it a very casual scan and then follow inside.
Yeah. None of them are looking on with like a, like one of those like suspicious looking glares.
Placid
of,
expressions.
Either like a placid looking expression or trying to act like they're concerned. Like they all seem genuine in their reaction, conversing amongst each other. What happened? I don't know. That guy just kind of collapsed. He threw up all over the Lord. Like,
Got it. Okay.
you guys head into the Kylum Diaboli. Meanwhile, Denier. It is a new day. Yes, it is. And you are, would you have slept at the school or would you have gone to your apartment?
Probably I would have been at the school.
All right, so you would have. Your office is a very your classroom / office is a very comfy place to sleep. So, you awaken, like your big fluffy cheeks kind of like matted to the side of your face, all kind of scrunched up. You awaken from your dream trance, and what would you have been studying throughout the night or trying to figure out while in your dream palace?
Probably he would have probably spent a fair bit of time with Gideon trying to figure out what's going on there. But one thing that I know that he would do is he would send along a dream of the final wishes of his fallen student to her mother and sister, and allow her to basically say her goodbyes in her own words. Rather than...
It was a very somber duty. And you get the sense that they're going to awaken with some form of light anxiety from this, but the dream itself is a bittersweet and pleasant one. The ladies of the Frosk family from you.
He didn't want to approach them and play a recording of the Speak with Dead version of her last words.
Probably not. Probably not great to see your eldest daughter's disembodied head speaking her last words beyond the grave.
Mm-hmm. So he wanted to make sure that they were taken care of because she was under his charge, and he wanted to at least do what's right by her. He would also, after that was done, he would probably spend time pondering the situation, thinking about what happened to Gideon, thinking about if it was enchantment magic, what kind of enchantment magic it might be. Could it be some kind of a modified memory spell? Could he have been the killer? And thinking about, he's trying to ponder and rule out if it was anybody at the academy because of the fact that the vision was somebody in the school's cloak.
Mm.
And he's putting pieces together with all the information that they've given. The fact that Gideon was the one that had the axe, but there was no reference to Gideon's initials in the section that Asmo had. But there was an AM, which was Aiden's initials. And he's basically in front of a dream corkboard, setting everything out, trying to figure out and put pieces together.
Your Pepe Sylvia murder board.
Exactly.
All right. Unfortunately, without the exact chemical makeup of the potion that he imbibed, it's hard to tell exactly what the spell that you're running into, like whatever enchantment he might be under is. Hopefully, by the time you wake up, your potion master Glib Pringler may have some answers for you. And now that you have awoken,
he would immediately begin to check with his potion master, with Master Pringler.
You head downstairs to the 5th floor where the alchemy lab is set, with the potions class currently on hiatus for the day due to the necessity of Glib Pringler's studies. Let me see, where are you? Alchemist lab, there you are. As you crack open the door, the room is pretty thick with dust, as the Earth Genasi has been floating from place to place, running various tests on the bottle that you had given him. Currently, he has a set of goggles over his eyes, looking over a glowing, like his back is to you, but you can see that there's something radiating in front of him. His hands are cast out front. He's clearly examining something on a table as you walk into the room.
He gives a couple knocks on the door to acknowledge his presence so he doesn't sneak up on the man.
Hello.
Good morning, Master Pringler.
Master Denier, how are you today?
I'm troubled. Hopefully you'll be able to help me with that.
I hope so as well. My tests have yielded some results, but alas, they are, as of yet, still inconclusive.
Understandable, given the sheer magnitude of what I asked of you.
There were little samples left to run with in the vessel. But what I was able to extract from sensory purposes, I coated on my particles and have examined. It is a enchantment. It does warp the mind. To what extent, I am unclear. Whether it was to charm or perhaps alter the mind.
Given what Denier has seen in the dreams, along with Master Pringler's commentary and expertise, is there anything additional that Denier would be able to put together with this? Is it obviously it's something that would warp his mind, given that Denier's specialty in abjuration is specifically against mind-altering effects? Would there be any additional information that he could surmise from this?
I'll say that between the information that Glib has given you and your own expertise in actually being inside of Gideon's mind, reviewing his memory, give me an Arcana check with advantage.
That's a 26.
Your suspicion seems to be correct, that his memory may have been altered. The potion may have altered his memory.
Mm-hmm. Given what I've seen inside of the student's mind, as well as everything that you said, I'm beginning to think that this might be some kind of a potion of modify memory, or something that could potentially be like a custom memory.
A distinct possibility.
The thought that Gideon himself might be the killer has slowly begun emerging into Daenerys' mind. Given now, when he last spoke with Nara, would Nara have shared the information that she would have gotten from the innkeeper?
I don't think you guys have met since then.
The first one, before he met up with her, when she discovered that that somebody in a blue cloak was dropping the body.
Oh, yeah, you would have gotten that information.
Okay. So he could... a theory is popping into his head that Gideon killed Kylan and Aiden, took the body from the wheelbarrow that was right... The wheelbarrow was right there, grabbed it, used the hatchet, took the body to the slums, and then discarded the body, put the message there as a red herring, and then dumped the body and took the potion. Daenerys thinks on this for a moment before he gives a little bit of a nod. I see. Thank you so much for your assistance. I'm going to speak with the constabulary and relay the information that we've acquired so far and see if that helps out with their investigations.
If there is anything further I can do to help, you know where to reach me, sir.
Of course, he gives a bit of a bow. You have my eternal gratitude, my friend.
And you have my service at your disposal.
He bows, giving you kind of like a two fists to his belly, like, clasped together and then bowing at the waist.
He would return it before he leaves. He would probably give one check-in on Gideon before he would probably attempt to meet up with Asmo.
All right. As you head down to the infirmary, Gideon still lies unconscious. His brow less sweat-laden than it was previously, as you had left him with a more peaceful dream, or at least attempted to assuage his nightmares for the evening.
Leaving him with Aiden and Kylan, letting him say his goodbyes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So he seems like more calm. He's breathing more peacefully. And, of course, Thermion has Lafar, the Rakshasa professor, now just sitting in the corner, overseeing him. His eyes shift up to you as soon as the door opens, and you can see that he tensed up for a moment, but then his shoulders go lax as soon as he sees that it's you.
He gives a slight smile when he enters the door. How's he been?
Sleeping like a rock. Have you...
I would imagine.
...gleaned any further information on his attackers?
I've gathered some information, but it's starting to look dire. I believe the attacker was somebody from the academy.
He stands up.
What? Who? How? How would they betray
That's what we're trying to figure out. And I will use a major image to create a small illusionary sphere in my hand, and I will play the dream that I've seen for Thermion.
You play back the dream that you saw in his mind. All of them running through the fields, him holding Kylan's hand, the screams, the man in the blue cloak, and everything swirling down the abyss of the bottle of a potion.
The effect I believe that he's under is a memory modification spell.
That would take some powerful magic to undo.
He gives a nod. As soon as I speak with the constabulary to relay the information, I will soon begin attempting to dispel the magic myself. This troubles me. We might, in case, I don't know if Gideon himself was involved with it or not, but we may need to know who was the last of the students to arrive before check-in, before these three were noticed that they were missing.
I'll check in with the attendance master.
He gives a nod. Although what concerns me is, if this was from inside of the school, why did they make it seem, well, he waves a bit of a hand to throw off the trail, of course.
It's a disturbing circumstance.
I have a feeling that we're missing critical pieces of information. While this is concerning enchantment magic, even more enchantment magic may be at play. I don't want to cast the blame if enchantment magic is at fault, because I myself have been a victim to enchantment magic, and it forced me to do terrible things.
It is truly one of the most potentially evil forms of magic. Necromancy may get a bad rap, but to change the very being of a person.
He gives a nod. With the South, necromancy that's one thing that I've never understood in the South. Necromancy is always forbidden, but enchantment magic is right there, and only half of it is, holding up air quotes, good.
It's why we teach it so selectively.
He points a finger towards Thermion. Precisely. Magic can be good or evil. It depends on the caster and the reason for the casting. But
the only reason to teach the higher forms is to be able to defend yourself against them. That's my theory.
He gives a bit of a nod, but he also has a mental image. Nope, never mind. This Denier never casted Charm Monster on Blinkstoy, so he would not have that memory.
The Denier Prime looking on does, though.
Mm-hmm. Dreamwalker Denier points at Thermion. Exactly. Please, keep an eye on him and keep me in the loop. I'm going to reach out to Asmo and see what new information has been provided. Perhaps they have a link that we have yet to see. I will inform you on everything going on upon my return.
I will keep guard here.
Wonderful. You have my appreciations, my friend.
He nods.
And Denier will turn and begin to head out. And he begins to seek Asmo, knowing that there's only a couple locations that he can be, usually.
As you head out into the city, you walk out across the cobblestone street that lines the courtyard of the Arcane Academy. The nearest building, of course, on your way into town is the Kylum Diaboli. And as you walk past there, you see that there's a bunch of people onlooking, but the crowd is beginning to disperse. You hear people kind of muttering about an attack or somebody who got sick. And as you look into the Kylum Diaboli's courtyard, you see Wolfgang, Nara, and Asmo as they are currently walking towards the main entrance of the Kylum. In front of them are two clerics holding aloft a man who seems to be unconscious.
Denier will silently begin following the group just to see how long he can go before they notice him.
Roll a stealth check.
26.
Nara, what's your passive perception? Just 10 plus whatever your perception is.
Ew.
I think it's 22.
12. Wait, what is it?
Yeah.
How can I tell that?
There's a section on it underneath your skills.
Just as passive perception.
Yes. Yep. It's 22.
22. So yeah, you're even able to sneak up on Nara for a while, unless anybody wants to. None of you get the vibe that Denier is there.
We're very focused on the situation inside the foyer.
Nara would have a little bit of a heightened feels right now.
Then I'll give you go ahead and give me perception. That's fair.
30.
Denier, I'll say you get within about 10 yards before Nara turns around. You feel like somebody's sneaking up on you, Nara, so I'm guessing you're in a defensive stance.
Oh, yeah. Because she's also still holding that dart, too. So she'll, start reaching for Tango, and then see it's Denier and relax.
And for the first time in 4 or 5 sessions, you guys are all united again.
Denier.
Asmo.
Almost ready to kill you.
He gives a little smile. You can try.
I certainly can.
Whoever tried to kill this guy almost worked. Looks like we got a poisoning of a witness for the crime.
Well, draw poison, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Momentary glance towards Nara.
Got it.
I figured as much. You typically don't use poisons.
Anymore. I grew up.
So I have some information. Let's go inside before this information gets out.
We are inside, but okay.
Yeah, you guys head into the Kylum proper. There we go.
I hope we're inside now.
Yes, you can tell by the inside ambiance.
Inside in a room that cannot be pried upon.
Specifically Wolfgang's office.
Yeah.
The clerics would continue to carry the unconscious man towards the Kylum's infirmary. Would you head to Wolfgang's office?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm heading to my office. Before we do that, though, I am going to order a small contingent to watch over wherever they take him.
Yes.
Yep. You get some junior and senior cadets standing guard over the doors, and one of your full-on instructors stands outside the doors as well, or stands inside the room with the unconscious man.
Satisfied that he'll be safe for now, Wolfgang would then head to his office.
All right, you find yourselves in the safe and now, as far as you're aware, completely secure confines of Wolfgang's office.
So when's the doctor getting here for our friend?
Who would be the... Nara, your passive perception just about sees it in general. But you notice that one of the bricks on the wall in Wolfgang's office has been kind of like scratched up. It looks like it almost has some like blade like chalk marks on it.
Immediately goes to examine that.
Yeah, you see that on that wall there is a damaged magical rune.
She makes sure to make eye contact with Wolfgang, darts her eyes at the blade marks, and then turns to Denier.
Denier, what is this? Do you know?
At a glance, given my specialty with runes and all that, do I know what it is, Lani?
It's defaced, so what would normally be an advantage would just be a normal Arcana roll, I think.
15.
Yeah,
Natural 2.
It's still good. It's still good enough, though. You are very good with Arcana. You notice that, like, even through like the, superficial scarring on top of it, this was a rune that might be used as kind of a scrying key, like a way to look into the room or listen to the room.
That is not supposed to be here. This is a scrying key.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it later. It's not relevant. At least I don't think. God, if it is.
Explain it to a non-magic person. Does this mean they were spying on us or on them?
On me.
Well.
And I think I know who it was.
And that would be?
It had to have been put here when the office was constructed.
Which means that it was probably... Tia.
Azra just kind of chuckles to himself.
Makes sense for her. Look of realization appears in Denier's eyes. Which means Venariel might be compromised.
Us four and Talia are the only ones who know this.
Talia?
Well, you've met Talia.
Yes, I know, but where is she? She reported to you last night, right?
I had her on a mission last night to go talk to Auric Clyburn, the man whose blood is all over me right now. Speaking of which, I'll just prestidigitation the blood off. And he was keeping it on his clothes in case he needs some for study, but now knowing what it is, he's no longer relevant.
Yeah, you're able to just... Your clothes are now a pristine white again.
That's Clyburn's blood.
Yeah, what it was. I used a greater restoration on him, and he spat all that up on me. He seemed fine afterwards. I probably didn't need to go that hard, but I wanted to be sure. He's a key witness, as it turns out. Talia got some good information.
No, you're smart to do it. There's some powerful magics at play here.
Who would use drow poison? And in this teeny tiny little needle. I haven't really seen this before, so...
Someone wouldn't be trying to frame you, would they?
Me?
Well, you're the only... You and the guide are the only drow within... miles, I think, of this place.
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like, You'd either have to be loaded to be able to access this stuff, or you gotta be real good at your job and know how to access it. It's really more only accessible in the underground, you know.
I'm betting on the former.
Above game, real quick here. The gentleman who was attacked, is he currently medically wise? Is he in the room with us?
He's being treated by clerics in another room.
Yeah,
and
he's
got
okay.
guards stationed outside of that room.
And inside
okay.
the room. Yeah, he's in the infirmary right now.
I'm just making sure. In my mind, I was like, did we just bring him in with us here? Or did they bring him in?
Just throw him on Wolfgang's desk.
What do we do with this?
Flump. Family
What's
guy
the problem
flop.
here?
Do we have any suspects who are appropriately loaded?
Well, my assailant is currently in the jail cell. Based on everything, he's directly related to how the bodies were desecrated on the property of his former workplace, or someone's trying to put the blame on him. Either way, he knows something, and he's not giving it up. And he tried to attack me last night, which is why I had to end the conversation.
He doesn't
Currently,
exactly come from money, though, does he?
no, he doesn't, but he had 2 other friends, and I have a play in mind here, depending on how my next conversation goes, Wolfgang, and I will need to coordinate with you on what comes next, because there are some involved parties that know something. As far as I'm concerned, they need to give up the information to get to the bottom of this, because there's a lot of aspects of this that don't even track. Number one, if this was just a group of guys attacking somebody, we'd have a trail of everything and they'd do it, but something about the attack doesn't even make sense. Just weird. Everything about it is strange to me.
I might be able to clear that up a little bit.
Oh, I would love to know what you know.
The Denier will go ahead and burn a 3rd level spell to replay what he saw in Gideon's head.
You guys see as Denier plays for you, kind of in like a projection all around you, the dream within that he saw within Gideon Rook's mind. Gideon Rook running hand in hand with Kylan Frosk. Aiden Moore running slightly behind them, having a good time, drinking some of the... you see as Aiden breaks into that shack, or like kind of unlocks the door in that shack that you guys found all that Yumberry wine in, and he comes out with a cask. They drink together. They're having fun. Gideon and Kylan getting close, almost lip to lip before they hear a scream. And then you see the faceless man in the blue cloak charging at them with an axe. And
so they're drinking the wine by the tree?
Yeah, they were drinking the wine in the field, yeah, by the tree.
So it was two of them, correct?
Three.
It was the 3 guys. The 3 of them were drinking the wine below. Who was the one who went into the shack?
Aiden Moore. In the dream vision, it was the other dead boy.
Yeah, one of the dead kids did it. Okay.
Yeah. And then as the attacker looms over Gideon, everything starts to fade and the entire world just kind of swirls down the neck of a bottle.
So we see the guy is wearing a blue cloak. What are we looking at for height-wise?
It's in a dream, so it's kind of like the dude's looming. He may as well be like 10 feet tall to Gideon.
So he's towering over them when they're sitting down drinking.
Yes, and again, since it's in a dream, not every instance is going to be perfect to memory, so the height isn't going to be a very good good way to judge how tall this guy is in real life.
Are there any other defining factors like rings on hands or
the most the biggest defining factor is that he's wearing the cloak of a student of the academy.
Is there any blood on it, or does it look fresh?
In the dream, it looks fresh. until the attack happens, and then yes, there is blood on it.
Aiden is the first one to fall, then Kylan, and then then whoever this is confronts Gideon.
And then, but we don't see anything at that confrontation.
At that point, that's when it starts going down the potion bottle, I believe.
Okay, so that's where the recording essentially cuts off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, that's an interesting piece of information. Sorry, go on.
Gideon claims, when I asked him about the festival, Gideon claims that he was the one that won the axe. But from the ledger that you showed me, his initials are not on that list. He points at AM, but Aiden's is. The potion itself is some kind of enchantment magic. From what I've seen and from the results of the potion, I suspect that it's some kind of a memory modification potion. We may be looking at enchantment magic, which made Gideon kill the other two.
This memory modification, can it be reversed?
Lani, the modified memory spell, I believe, says it permanently changes it, but it's up to you if it can be reversed or undone.
I'm treating it like a powerful curse. Something like Greater Restoration would probably be able to restore a memory so long as
it says it right
wasn't...
there.
Yeah.
A remove curse or Greater Restoration spell on the target restores the creature's true memory.
Yeah. See, I read it right. Oh my god, I remembered the rules.
God damn.
You did it.
It's possible. Memory modification is a pretty powerful curse, but unfortunately, curses aren't. While abjuration is my specialty, I never dabbled too much into breaking curses.
Oh, don't you bloody worry about that. I am quite studious when it comes to curses. I think back when I was doing my solo stuff, curses were my specialty, so...
Let me just break this down. So essentially what we're seeing right now is a memory, but it might be a false memory, or it is a false memory.
It potentially could be a false memory.
And what this memory that potentially is false is showing us is that the three of them were sitting down after breaking into the Yumberry Horde, which is still confusing why they would even know where that is.
Because Aiden has connections at the farm.
Does he? Well, looks like I get to pop on out to that farm again and ask some more questions at some point, or at least send Earth to do so.
I will point out at the very beginning of the memory, Aiden, when he was popping the lock, mentioned that the farmer had no idea that the wine stash was even there. Which coincides with what Wolfgang and Asmo, or what Denier and Asmo saw.
Well...
Well, if this is a false memory, then the guy I got in my holding cell has still done something and is connected it in some way. If it is an accurate memory, then all I know is that a very tall gentleman, who fitting the same height at least of the gentleman I have in the prison cell, we have him attacking, but we can't quite make out who it is.
Dreams are often subjective. When I'm in a dream, I can be 10 feet tall or I can be 2 feet tall. You got to look more at the meaning than the exact specifics. But do you still have that axe head, Asmo?
Asmo does. He pulls it out of his pocket. He's left it in one of his jacket pockets, essentially.
I would like to attempt to scry on it again to determine the owner of the axe itself. It might give us an idea. Because when I questioned Aiden, he said, whenever I questioned Gideon, he said that he thinks he still had the axe at the time of the attack. But if this was a charm from Gideon, a charm on Gideon, he used the axe to attack Kylan and Aiden. The wheelbarrow was right there inside of the storage, which he would have seen whenever they got the Yumberry wine.
But the third one of them was kidnapped by a series of goons. That is the part that's very confusing to me right now.
Denier leans forward a bit. Not if he was the charmed one. Not if he was the one that dumped the bodies. Not if he was the one that killed them, drank the potion, and then put himself in the hovel.
Whoever's behind this made him do his own dirty work.
That's a theory that I have right now, but I don't have enough evidence to confirm it. I want to, after we get done here, I want to head back to Gideon and try to break that curse.
Before we break on this, I think a summation of this is pretty simple. So there is a foul hand at play beyond just open bigotry in that regard. Specifically in this context, there is someone who's gone out of their way to paint a very particular picture that's vague enough to be understood a certain way. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's a bunch of different suspects we have right here, and not everyone's being 100% honest. Now, Eva, when I had my guy in the prison cell, I said to him, "Are you the fool or the patsy?" As far as I'm concerned, it's looking more and more like this guy might be a patsy of some kind. Hell, if there's charms going around and people are being possessed, what would be a better cover on moving on a crime than using a bunch of people who are known to be, anti-mage to put the frame on them? But why was it so easy to access these guys? Something's not right about this. I mean, it's obvious it's not right about this, but there's a part of this we're missing.
If Gideon was, and this is just me, this is just conjecture, if Gideon was the killer, what better weapon for an anti-sorcerer to use than a sorcerer to do the killing?
It makes them look bad, too.
It makes them look bad, it puts the message out there for everybody to see, and we're less likely to be able to point the finger of blame at our own people.
But they slipped up a few times, underestimated us. We've got evidence that that is not the case. Plus, we'll find out the truth once we get to Gideon.
And Denier's going to take his time, and he's going to attempt to scry on that axe head again to attempt to find the true owner of the axe.
You're going to try to find the owner of the axe.
Now, let me go ahead and take it. They're going to need a DC 17 will save, but due to specifics, the save might go easier or harder. I do have a possession, which is going to drop the DC, which is going to increase the AC by 4 to 21. And depending on if it's second-hand or first-hand, or if I'm familiar with them, that ranges from a +5 to a -5 to the DC.
Right.
If I know them, then it's going to increase the DC to a 26. If I don't, it's going to drop it down to a 16.
So my question is, how do I determine who owns it?
I would say the last person that how to word this properly.
Yeah, because it's tough, because theoretically, Asmo owns it right now. It's property of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it, whoever it initially belonged to, or was it whoever ended up with it? Is it the possessor? That's the tough part that I'm trying to come to terms with in terms of how this spell is going to work.
Mm-hmm. And that's the DM call on that. Unless you want me to roll an arcane check to try to kind of bend the spell in the way that I'm looking for.
I'll just say this: call high or low.
I'll go high.
Alrighty. Cast away.
I will burn a 5th level spell in order to cast Scry. It will take 10 minutes to cast, but I do have my crystal ball for everybody to see.
As the shape slowly swirls into place, you see Clear as day. Ironically speaking. Pitch darkness. As you focus, you attune it, you begin to see a shape manifest within the darkness. It is the mangled, brutalized head of Aiden Moore. Sitting in a very dark abyss.
And there's no defining location of where the head is.
The surroundings appear to be rocky. Maybe a little muddy at the base. His face does seem slightly sunken into what appears to be kind of like a thick mud or sludge.
Does anybody know where this is? I want his remains. I believe I get a 10-feet circle of where this is to be able to see and hear upon. If that
10
helps
foot,
any.
okay, 10 foot?
Mm-hmm.
At the very, kind of like where the stump of the neck is. Because the head is most certainly severed. The head, like, appears to have been hatcheted in at the top a number of times. Eyeball kind of hanging out on one side. The other one is sunk into the mud. So you can't see if it is deformed. But at the very edge of that 10-foot sphere, you do see what appears to be kind of like a rocky, like just kind of like a natural rock wall, almost cave-like.
Is that by the old? Is this by the old silver mines that are all mined out?
Could be a cave.
Well, it's the only one I can think of is the silver mines.
You can all give me investigation, Nara with advantage.
19.
One more.
That's a 12.
Go
banana!
Go banana!
Did you say advantage for me?
Yes, advantage for Nara.
14!
Denier, this is actually kind of appropriate for you. It's less so the wall at the edge, but more so the sloppy mud that the head is buried in. You have a flash. Your recurring dream from your time holding the stone. This head is at the bottom of the maw.
Boy.
That's the maw, Denier says grimly.
Approximately speaking, since the slums of Silver Rock rest near the lip of the maw, it would have to have been thrown somewhere from this area.
One more time. Oop, oop, oop. From over there.
Yeah, just from the northern edge of the slums. And as you ponder upon this new bit of information, here is where we will take a quick break. Hey guys, Lani here. I just wanted to thank you for rolling with us. And if you wanted to catch us live, you can do so almost every Monday at 5 o'clock Central Time over on twitch.tv/Lanipator. Now, back to the show. As the image fades from the crystal ball that you were looking into, you now know that the head lies somewhere at the bottom of the maw.
Nara, I don't wish to do this to you, but it is unbelievably important to me that his remains are retrieved.
Shall I go now?
There we go.
We probably have more important things to do right now, but very, very soon. Unless information from him via the guide would assist us in this investigation.
We need the help. Or is it anybody part?
Thinking on it, asking
If
God.
he gives a little bit of a smile towards Nara. I thoroughly look forward to seeing you explain how you would think that a foot would talk to us.
Decent point. We could always carve a mouth in.
Asmo just kind of looks at her when she says that, like...
Just the slow, stewy head tilt.
Right. Okay, not gonna work. Alright. Fine, I'll
Daenerys
wait.
looks over at Asmo, and then he does the Will Smith double hand presentation to Nara as though, this is your woman.
Hey, I'm not without my own foibles. Either way, I'll stick around for a little bit, but I have to head out to the actual jail and go talk with our friend.
Does anybody have anything else that we need to discuss or inform each other of so that we're all on the same page?
Peter Popper wasn't very helpful in this investigation, so... Nice fellow, but not for this.
Given that he wasn't the one that was attempted to be murdered, I assume that he's not involved, although he might be a good resource in the future. We are going to need plenty of potions eventually for when we start handling the rest of the business that we need. We can't rely on Wolfgang for healing forever.
True. I could ask him who might sell and or acquire drow poison here.
Could be a good way.
I'll go
I
focus
can
on that
think
for
of
now.
like only a few people, and you're one of them. Not saying that you sell it, but you have access to it. The only other one is, we're not being listened in anymore, right? Asmo kind of gestured to where just around. No one's listening in right now.
As I know.
Oh God, our current occupant of the graveyard. The only other person I can think of really would have access to it.
Guide.
Works in the Underdark, correct?
Yeah, they work in the
Would that not be
mausoleum.
Talia?
Okay, so I'm talking about the priest character with the spooky one who lives in the mausoleum. That's not Talia, is
Guide.
No, that's
The guide.
The guide.
Yeah, the guide is another drow, yes, but the place that you would be able to access drow poison would be a place that Talia would be able to run through, correct?
Is the Underdark that's directly underneath
Was it the
Silver Rock?
Underdark or was it the... Sorry, Nick.
That's the Underdark, right?
I mean, there is that fissure in the mines that open up that yes does give you access to the Underdark. That's where you found the Duergar city.
Yeah, that's where we fought Blinky.
Yeah.
That's where you're saying that drow poison would have been. I'm sorry. You said it was either someone who was very wealthy or in the...
Someone who's wealthy or someone in the know. Like, the person that's in the know would probably be a professional. Because you'd have to be wealthy. You'd have to be wealthy to pay somebody who knows how to get it for you, or you either know how to get it yourself.
Talia, being a former Deadeye, might be able to know something about it, but I'm not sure if she would know, like, someone in town who would be able to supply this kind of thing, or someone in town who might have it.
No,
I'm not sure if that's in her knowledge base.
If you wish to ask her, you might be able to find her in her office this time of day.
Well, let's go ask her. And then I can go ask Peter if he might know anyone who would know a professional who might use it, or someone wealthy enough to acquire it.
All right. Might as well while we're here. Denier, wait up for me. I'm gonna meet you at the Magic College. I want to see if I can take a crack at that modified memory.
And regularly check in with Auric to make sure he's not dead for real.
Nara, do you want me to come with you for right next a little bit here? My guy can still sweat off a little bit.
Yes, I suppose I could just go with you when your time is to speak to your fellow.
You can. He's quite the talker.
Bet.
As one says, clearly lying.
As you make your way through the halls of the Caelum Diaboli, heading down to Talia's office, one of the clerics that you brought, that helped bring in Mr. Clyburn, kind of catches your eye, and you catch his, and he walks over, kind of like holds up a hand with a very purposeful walk. He's stable and seems to be regaining consciousness, sir.
All right, good.
We'll continue to keep an eye on him. Just, we wanted you to know.
Very good. Thank you for the update.
And
I'm going to Talia's office.
yes, sir. He turns on his heel and heads back to the infirmary.
Ooh, that was lightning.
Fun.
If I disappear, my power went out.
Oh no, Wolfgang got taken.
Oh shoot. He's been tooken?
You find
I need a
Talia's
different Irishman to come save me.
you find
Hello.
Talia's door is closed as you approach it.
Knocking on it a few times.
Come in. Comes from the inside.
He opens the door. Is Nara with him?
I think we were all heading there first, just to hear
No.
what she has to say before she goes to Peter's.
Wait.
Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
That's...
She looks up from a pile of papers that she's currently sorting through, and sees that kind of all of you are crowding the door. Well, I'm popular today.
Got something that maybe you would have knowledge about. Your quarry last night, Mr. Kyburn, showed up at my door full of drow poison this morning.
Drow poison. She shuffles the paper to the side.
He motions for Nara to present the needle.
She brings it forward, and also, just for the sake of it, inciting Talia's expression
Go for
of
it.
reaction for that. 20.
She seems genuinely curious
Okay.
as you approach. And do you hand her the needle
Or
or present
she
the needle?
would, yeah, present it.
The poison was on, I guess, coating this needle when you found it.
Looks to Nara.
Yeah, she's just looking around back and forth, waiting for an answer.
Yes.
Okay. May I see it?
She'll set it on the table.
It's again, it's a very thin needle, like it's an acupuncture needle, pretty much. Very specific choice of weapon. Something that could go unnoticed if applied with the right amount of pressure or dexterity. Have to have somebody with pretty light fingers.
Have any of your previous associates used this method in their exploits?
There have been times when subtlety was the better choice for the attack, but most people go to Deadeyes when they want us to make a statement.
Yeah, this didn't seem like a Deadeye sort of thing. What with Mr. Oryx's eyes still being intact.
Yes. Is he still alive?
I
Presently.
managed to get to him in time before the poison did its thing.
Then there's that too. She looks over the she kind of pushes the needle back towards you, Nara.
I think I have a vial to stick it in. I do.
Yeah, at the moment,
Yep.
the needle itself is pretty much used of its poison. It's basically just a needle right now. You were able to get a sense for it by just like a slight little taste of the poison on the tip of your tongue.
Just a little dab.
It's not that the Deadeyes never used poisons. Sometimes subtlety was the approach that they'd need to take. Sometimes that's what the contract called for. But if your target is alive, this would be sloppier than our more journeyman assassins.
So it's not a professional job.
Well, I'm not saying that. It definitely took some skill to apply the needle and potentially get it on the person without them noticing. It's like picking a pocket, but more intrusive. Like I said, light fingers. She says, kind of twiddling her fingers.
This to drow poison, or is wealthy enough to access it.
Wealthy enough to access it in Silver Rock? That list is endless. As for known people who might have access to it, there was a poison crafter in the slums I remember some people going to.
Peter Popper?
Yes, his father crafted the poison that killed the former Baron here, the one before Barristan.
So I guess I need to pay him a visit again.
Asmo says from outside the room.
Fine.
So long as he has access to the ingredients, I'd be willing to bet that he could produce such a poison. But that's not to say he'd be the only source. Anyone who knows their way around the Underdark might be able to access these ingredients on their own.
You yourself are pretty familiar with the Underdark, now that I'm thinking about it.
I try. If you're asking if I had something to do with this, I would say that if I wanted him dead, I would have killed him last night. Okay.
A thought occurred to Wolfgang just now as he's looking down at the needle. Why didn't Denier scry on this?
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah.
Denier, have you already left for the school?
He did tell me to meet. He did tell me to meet him at the school.
True.
We better go take that to him.
Aye. That's some work for him. Think you could do me another favor, Talia?
I'm at your disposal, sir.
If you got any ears about any sort of traffic going on in the Underdark, could you relay that to me?
My resources are more limited than they used to be until I get our secret project up and running. But if I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thank you. That's all I'll ask for now.
She nods.
Come on. We got some work to do at the college.
Alright, shall we?
Yes.
So you head over to the, you're just gonna head straight to the Arcane Academy?
Oh, right, I need to, I want to see if I can talk to the dude who's just now waking up.
Mr. Clybourne.
Yes.
Clyburn?
Clyburn.
Auric Clyburn.
So you head over to the infirmary, and sure enough, bleary-eyed but awake, they're currently trying to get him to drink some water. The cadets standing guard outside give you a kind of a salute and stand aside as you walk over to the door. They open it for you. The instructor inside gives you a salute and a nod, as do the rest of the cadets in the guarding the interior. And the bleary eyes of Auric Clyburn kind of look over to you.
You saved me.
Managed to get to you in time. That was some nasty stuff that was coursing through your veins, Mr. Clyburn.
I don't know what happened. I was just walking, and then I felt really hot, and then I felt sick, and my tongue... Thank you.
I wasn't just gonna stand there and let you die.
And I'm glad I ran into you.
There was a purpose to our visit initially. If you're feeling up to it, I'd like to resume that.
Of course. I was told you were...
And he kind of like looks around, and he sees you there, Asmo, with your badge on, and he kind of like glances away for a moment.
You wanted to ask about my side business.
Asma kind of just notices that and just kind of like steps up.
Why, you got anything you'd like to get off your chest right now?
I'm trying to make a life for myself, and it's hard just selling the normal potions when you have to go up against somebody like Cherryweather in a town like this. I make potions just as good as he does. Hell, better. But I don't got the brand. So I have to do custom jobs.
Custom jobs?
You know, bespoke, made to order And sometimes that goes against the code of potion craft.
Yeah, it's one thing to craft something, some kind of special healing elixir or something to help out with a certain situation. It's another thing to make something that you know is going to kill somebody.
I don't... I don't make poisons.
Asmo just kind of sits, kind of stops leaning in, kind of just stands up and looks at Wolfgang and Nara, just like, is this guy on the level? Like, it's like kind of making a face of like, is this guy not making Okay. Asmo's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna be like, okay.
Wolfgang will reach into his he'll reach into his satchel and he'll pull out that drawing that he showed the other potion maker, and he'll present it to him.
Just the
That
drawing
look
of the
familiar
bottle.
to you? Yeah, just the drawing of the bottle.
Yeah, those
That look familiar to you?
Those are the bottles that I put the custom orders in.
Hmm.
And it's kind of a don't ask situation with the customers, you know. They have their reasons.
Don't exactly keep a ledger then.
Not for that work. Not unless there's a big enough order. Then you kind of have to be able to keep track of the ingredients and the shipping.
Did you recently do a custom order for a potion that would modify someone's memory?
His eyes begin to focus.
Yeah.
I need you to tell me who that was for, lad.
Yeah. It was about 5 days ago.
He kind of closes his eyes to try to focus.
Young guy walked into my store, looked lost, just looking over the potions. Must have been in there for hours, just looking over each one, trying to find something. Eventually I was closing up, and I asked him what he was looking for, and he told me he needed something to modify a memory.
This young guy didn't happen to be wearing a blue outfit, was he? Yeah,
he had a cloak over his shoulder. Kind of a... like... lake blue.
Would that...
Yeah, it's the color of the arcane innate, or the arcane academy.
Tell me more about this guy.
He seemed real antsy. Looked like he'd been crying. I guess he was having a rough time, and I mean, I think we've all had a time where we just wanted to forget, you know. I took pity on him, and I made it for him. It took a few days.
What'd the guy look like? Hair color, general height.
Dark hair. I don't know, he was a young man or an old kid.
Does that sound like Gideon?
Yeah, sounds like some of the middle to upperclassmen that would fit his grade and age.
Came in day before the festival and picked it up.
Day before the festival. Day before the festival. The
I
others
was
are
also
still
thinking about that.
alive.
Yeah.
Why would he?
I'm sorry, is this why I was almost killed?
I was about to ask you if you had any notable enemies, people who might want to see you silenced for your side business or something else.
He looks he looks for a moment.
There was a weird order a while ago.
I'm listening.
I noticed a pattern. Every other week for a few moons, somebody would come in looking for a bit of just a vial of alchemist's fire. I mean, it's easy enough to make.
Alchemist's fire.
Fire. Asmo just kind of scratching his chin.
Yeah, it was a different person every time. But they were always asking for the same thing. They'd ask for a few bottles of alchemist fire. I know that stuff. I would never sell too much of it to anyone. But sometimes an adventurer comes in, or monster hunters, and well, they need stuff lit on fire.
I can relate.
But I realized that I'd been selling much more of it than usual.
How many bottles total?
I don't know. Hundreds?
Yeah.
Every other week. How much?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Like everyone's just like, what?
It's been going on for a while. I didn't think much of it. I just thought demand was up.
Engineer, can you show him what Gideon looks like?
Denier is at the
he's
school.
not here.
Shit.
you,
What
you look you look to the
We-
left. There's just that dotted outline of a Denier.
But you have all seen what Gideon looks like because you saw the image.
Yeah, you've seen Gideon.
I think he gave us a good enough description to put two and two together.
Okay, that it is Gideon that bought the memory altering situation.
Like 90% sure.
Hundreds.
The people who came in to buy it, the every other week for however many moons that was, what did they look like? Did they have any defining features that were similar?
No, like I said, they was a different person every time. Sometimes
Asmo
it
pulls
was,
out the picture. Asmo pulls out the picture of the three suspects.
Were any of them these three?
He looks them over. Let me see. He points to the balding man with the green eyes and square jaw and freckles.
Ah,
I think
the
I've seen.
second.
I think I've seen him before. I don't know if he was one of the ones that bought, but I've seen him
Where have you seen him?
in my shop. I can't remember if he was one of the ones picking up the alchemist fire or not. Though he looks the type.
Okay.
Who was that one again?
I don't know the guy's name.
Yeah, you don't have name. You just have. You
okay.
just have.
I don't got
picture.
that guy. I got the one dude in jail. We have one of the 3 suspects who are associated to this, but also this feels like there's much more at play here. So,
You've seen this guy. When was the last time you saw him, though?
He closes his eyes. If you've ever worked retail, trying to pinpoint when you last saw a customer.
this
so I'm
this
gonna
is
give
a
him
this. Yeah, no, this is this is a challenge, especially because he's in where he's at right now.
Must have been. It was sometime before the festival. I can't remember exactly when. Not like it was around then, but not, like not within a day or so.
Okay, well. I'm guessing you don't know a name, though, right?
Sorry.
No, it's already interesting enough. But you saw him in your shop just a couple days before everything.
Above game, the drugs they were talking about, the one where they had hundreds of made, is that like
It's
a
not
form
drugs.
of poison?
This is alchemist fire. This is you throw the bottle and it's basically
That's-
a magical
Goes
Molotov.
boom.
It's
Nice.
fire bombs.
I see.
Okay. Well, thank you. You just gave me a nice, wonderful little piece of information.
Asma just kind of smirks.
I forget. Did we ask if you've made drow poison?
I don't make poison, no.
Right. I need to go talk to someone.
We're all writing down notes, I swear.
Yeah, one of the
Oh,
clerics
yeah.
kind of holds
If-
it holds a chalice of water towards his lip, towards his now kind of chapped lips, and he takes a sip from it.
You wouldn't mind terribly if we were to investigate your shop a bit more. Maybe borrow one of your loose alchemist's fires in order to find the others.
Yeah, I think I have a order already and made.
In order for pickup.
Yeah.
Another one of those random orders.
Possibly. Unless this
In
is
your
all
shop
some
right now?
coincidence.
We need people to get eyes on that.
Is Mr. Clyburn, is your store currently open? Do other people work there?
I'm the only employee. So no, it's not open today.
So I
Did
have
you
two
have-
sets to make.
Did you have a shipment of alchemist fire that was supposed to go out sometime soon, if not today?
It's ready for pickup now. Whenever the purchaser would come in, it would be ready for them.
We
Nara
need eyes
leaves.
on that shop.
Alrighty. Looks like I got somewhere to
No,
go.
he turns over to Nara, and then she's the dotted outline. Oh.
Sure. As you see, Asma, like, I'm going after her.
Nara has no idea where the store is, by the way.
You know it is from the information you were given. You know it was somewhere in Midtown.
Okay. Yeah. So she's just gonna go, and if
Nara!
Asmo's following, she'll rely on
Nara!
him telling her.
All right, you guys
Well-
are out. So
Come on!
it's just Wolfgang in the infirmary.
Auric, I'm not gonna lie. You're in a lot of trouble. but you've been forthcoming with us, and the information you've given us is slowly but surely leading to the capture of a murderer.
He ashamedly just kind of like looks away and kind of silently nods.
We're gonna have to keep you here for a little bit, for your own safety. Clearly someone's got it out for you. These people here, they'll keep you safe. They'll keep you healthy.
They're kind of like staring, kind of with stern eyes as they've learned the exact nature of his business, but they will follow your orders.
As for what comes after, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I'll see what I can do to be lenient with you.
Thank you, Lord Connolly. It's more than I deserve.
It's due to my failings that you were put in that position in the first place. He stands up. Keep an eye on him.
Your cadets and instructor nod. And the clerics continue to attend to him.
Clap one on the shoulder and I begin to head out towards the Magic Academy.
All right. Nara and Asmo, where were you headed?
To Clyburn's shop.
Alrighty. And Asmo.
Just walking beside her now. He caught up finally.
Yeah. There's Oi guy. Let's see here. Midtown. You guys have strolled through here a few times. So I'll say, give me. What would this be? Navigation is survival. Survival with advantage.
17.
Myself as well?
You may.
Survival.
Nara's also going to be, as they are moving, very
19.
wary of everyone around them.
You guys are getting a lot of eyes, both due to the fact that, I mean, you're in a very elegant gown, and you're Nara, and Asmo is
there's not a lot of drow.
Yeah, and Asmo is Sheriff Snake Man. So people around here know you, and Asmo, it makes sense that you would know exactly where you're going. Nara, you also know where you're going. You managed to navigate your way through here and find your way to kind of the Midtown shopping area. And sure enough, in one of the gray stone buildings, you find a sign that says Clyburn's Whimsy. The interior of the shop is currently dark. Through the shop front window that you can see, the door is old oaken door is currently locked.
Get the key.
Oh, by action of the local city constabulary, we were able to,
Asmo just pretty much grabs the door handle. It's locked, correct?
Yep.
Asmo's just gonna twist it till it's not locked anymore.
Yeah, Nara actually will grab his wrist.
What?
We don't plan on taking everything that's inside of the shop with us. We may not want to leave access open to anyone else coming behind us.
Well, then we're gonna have to go in through the back door, Nara, unless you plan on smashing a window.
She will go to the back door and see what's accessible.
All right.
She actually took me up on that. I thought she was just gonna call my bluff and throw a cinder block through a goddamn window. Okay.
Tempting.
You find access to the back of the building. Sure enough, there is a the back of the building smells a bit of refuse. You can clearly tell that this is where a lot of the trash and other disposables are dumped. But it looks like there are two entryways. There is a door at the top of a small stoop and a set of shutters that seem to lead to some sort of exterior storeroom or cellar.
Before they get to either one, she's going to look everything over, see if it's already been tampered with in any way, shape, or form, and if there is any signs of how the doors and or shutters may have been interacted with.
The shutters themselves appear to have a simple, like, it looks like just a set of shutters. There's a small handle on the outside of each door. There does not appear to be a lock on the shutters from the outside. The back door, go ahead and give me an investigation check to see if anything's been tampered with or anything.
17.
As you look around, the shutters themselves, they do, like, the doors to the shutters do not appear to budge at all. They don't look like they've been manipulated by, like, they don't appear to be trapped. I'll say that. There's no booby trap attached to them. The back door just appears to have a pretty standard lock on it, and it too is also locked.
How long did it take us to get to Midtown?
It's a 10-minute walk, maybe.
How big is the lock mechanism? Are there any, like, gaps around the door?
The lock mechanism appears to be fairly rudimentary. I mean, it's a pretty bog standard door lock. Gaps around the door. I mean, there's a seam. The bottom part of the door does appear to have like a small gap to it that you can peer under. Doesn't appear to be very well weather sealed.
Did you pick these?
What, the lock?
Yes.
God, it's been years since I picked a damn lock. Asma just pulls out his lock breaking stuff. He's like, my God, no one's asked for that for a long time. My goodness. God, I don't even know where that is. He's checking his many 90s comic book character pouches right now for his lock picking out. He's like,
I'm pretty sure you had a thieves'
oh,
tools.
I do. I totally have thieves' tools. I'm just
He
trying
just
to
hasn't
find it in my
used them in
character sheet.
forever.
I'm like, where the fuck is it?
So you'll either roll your thieves' tools proficiency or just a sleight of hand.
I'm not doing sleight of hand. Oh, there it is. All right, hold on. I know how to remember it. Once you learn it once, and then do it 1,000 other times. Eh.
Oh,
There we
easy. Like, it's
24.
like riding a bike. You haven't picked a lock in forever, but as soon as you get, as soon as you kind of like fumble around there and you feel the tumbler on the inside, it's like, oh, yeah, right there. Bam, snapped open, very easy.
All right,
Nara
there
pats him on the cheek and walks in.
Mm-hmm. Asmo follows in and closes the door behind them.
All right, you find yourself on the interior of a, you're kind of in like a back room. It looks like a preparation station. There's boxes around you. There is a noticeably opened box that contains several of those empty potion vials that you were looking for, one of which is missing.
One.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like it was a full box that was recently opened, and one of the vials had been taken.
Okay. Nara would start investigating around the shop, trying to find the alchemist's fire. Also, would probably lock the door behind them.
It is a lock that requires a key,
Well,
but you are able to latch it behind you, so it's closed.
great.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, the keyhole is on both sides, and you need that key to both lock and unlock it from either end.
That's annoying.
But both of you can go ahead and give me an investigation check to look around to see if you can find where this alchemist's fire is.
Okay. 11.
Myself as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're both looking around the building.
Go banana.
Go banana. 1 for Asmo. An
Oh my
unnatural
gosh.
one. It's a 2
Soft
with a
one.
-1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're looking around. You're trying to think of like where somebody might hide, illicit goods and things like that.
So are we on the main floor of the building that's on street level?
Yeah. It's a one. It appears to be a 1-story building, though.
Is it metagamey to stomp on certain floorboards to see which ones sound hollow?
No.
Asmo's going to just tap with the heel of his shoe, just like tunk 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 tunk, just trying to tap
Then
around.
give
here
me
to-
another investigation. This one with advantage.
Oh please!
That's-
7. You got me.
How do you
fucking-
keep rolling
No,
2s? That's
I
the
was
3rd
also
in a
gonna
row.
I was also going to say that Nara, remembering how Peter had his hidden stash, would also check in a similar fashion.
Yeah, that's where you're going around. You're looking for like any loose things or any like levers somewhere that might like open things. But unfortunately, everything that you're
Would
checking
I-
so far hasn't yielded any results.
Would I also do an investigation check again with advantage?
No.
No?
What you're
I
look-
would not?
I would tell you if you could.
Aw. Okay.
But the manner in which you are investigating does not appear to be the way that he has hidden his stuff. I will say that.
Damn, those rolls hurt us. Okay.
Yeah, it really did. But
Yeah,
sometimes them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks. Okay.
Esmo,
What?
stay
I'm trying
here.
to think.
Stay in this building and I will return.
She's saying that as she's leaving.
Yes.
I
Close his door.
have work today.
Asmo stands in the building. Nara, you are now back out in the alley.
She is going to hawk speed. A hawk moves, or would that move just as fast? Oh, yeah, she'll just get on Pixie Stick then and fly back to where Clyburn is.
All right, you fly off back towards the Kylum Diaboli. Meanwhile, Wolfgang, you have made it to the Arcane Academy where Denier, I mean, you made it sometime earlier and you're in the infirmary with Gideon, who
Yep.
appears to be still unconscious, but he's in a very stable condition and is like, he could probably be awoken if you really wanted him to at this stage.
Mm-hmm. He would probably wait until Wolfgang gets there just so they can so he can get as much rest as he can.
All right, Wolfgang, as you enter the Academy of the Arcane, you are like, they were told to expect you, and they guide you back to the infirmary where Gideon is sleeping. Thermi and Haslafar still sitting in the corner. And
I appreciate this, Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Now,
He'll strut in and he'll sit down by Gideon.
would you like me to wake him up first?
Yeah.
He will gently walk over and gently attempt to rouse Gideon.
As you gently just kind of like shake his shoulder, you can see his eyes as they slowly begin to open and kind of like unroll from the top of his head. Where am I?
You're in
Take it easy, son. You're safe.
Welcome back to the land of the waking.
Was it all just a nightmare?
Wolfgang just sort of sorrowfully closes his eyes.
I wish it was, lad.
Oh god. Kylan. Hey.
You can see he's trying to parse everything that's happening and has happened.
He would give Gideon a few moments to figure everything out before he glanced. He put a hand on his shoulder to reassure him, but we think there's more. We found a potion bottle not too far away from you, like I discussed with you previously. We think that somebody or something is messed with your memory.
Why?
That's what we want to find out.
Okay.
Wolfgang here willing to attempt to break the enchantment that's upon you and restore your memories.
He looks at you.
Okay. Thank you. I don't...
First things first. Do you remember going into Clyburn's Whimsy the day before the festival?
He blinks some tears out of his eyes, and his face kind of like squints and like contorts as he's like trying to remember through all of the awfulness around him.
It's all kind of blurry.
I see. Well, this will help. And I'm going to pull out a small little pouchlet of about 100 gold's worth of diamond dust. And I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to sort of smear the powderized diamond across my glove. And as I do, the diamond powder will begin to alight and cast sort of an iridescent glow throughout the room. And I'm going to place my hand on Gideon's head, and I'll cast Greater Restoration.
Ooh, okay, good play.
As your hand begins to glow, it like all of the glittering sparkles on your hand starts to like glisten over his eyes like so many stars over a placid lake. You kind of like wipe your hand, like move your hand to his head. Focus in on the curse that is currently plaguing, bewitching his mind. And you use your radiant gift to force the cloud off of his mind, to shred the enchantments. And as he opens his eyes, I want you to make, both of you can make me a, oh God, what the fuck's the word I'm looking for? Insight check. Sorry.
Okay.
21.
Did that not go through?
Oh,
Oh,
goes.
there it is.
A 9.
Uh,
Wolf, that makes a bit of
That's
sense.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
9.
Sorry. It was a 3. I thought it was an 8.
Yeah. It makes sense. You're focused on casting this spell, so you are currently like actively pushing the bewitchment out of him. But Denier, the expressions you catch across his face as he is unhexed, his eyes widen for a moment, go to a sheer state of shock for a moment, and then back to sadness. And he just starts weeping. And starts to kind of like grind his hands together in front of him. Like trying to like rub his palms against each other and just kind of like clasping his hands as he's like, tears start kind of streaming out of his eyes.
Wolfgang will
happened,
just,
Gideon?
yeah, he'll slowly just put a reassuring hand on his shoulder.
He doesn't seem able to talk. Like his mind is so like compressed around everything. Like you literally just gave him a new timeline that is now overlapping everything that was there a moment ago.
You patched him, bro.
Yeah, he just got a
The
patch.
notes.
And his eyes just well with tears. He opens his mouth for a moment, but then he shuts it and kind of clenches his jaw. Thermion looks concerned.
Engineers, we're going to take a seat next to him. Just
Thermion looks
take a deep
like
breath.
across the both of you.
It's okay. You're safe here. What did you see? What happened?
Give him time.
Denier pets his back, rubs his back, trying to reassure him.
As you reach your hand out and like the instant you touch him, he vomits. Uncontrollably.
Bro, what? Really? Oh, Jesus.
Is there a bucket or anything nearby that Denier can grab to try to put underneath him?
You're in an infirmary, but I mean, right now it's all in his lap.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do a medicine check to see if something is making him sick or if this is just a response to the memories that got unlocked?
Absolutely.
Having some sort of... Would this be insight or medicine?
Medicine.
Medicine.
Medicine if you want to see if he's sick.
I think Wolfgang would be knowledgeable enough to know that this is probably a trauma response.
Yeah, then let's go with
So
insight.
would that be insight? Yeah. Unless it isn't, in which case that would be
The dice will tell.
indeed. Well, come on. Hello. Dice.
It's figuring itself out. That's
There
an
we go.
11 plus
17.
Yeah, it's definitely trauma. It is. There are so many nerves bundled up in him right now that they had nowhere else to go but out. Thermion is like extra concerned by this, but he too, reading the boy, noticed that this is something more nerve related.
I'll cast Prestidigitation just to clean him off, so he's not sitting in his own sick.
Yeah, between your Prestidigitation and Danir's bucket, you're able to just put it all in the little bucket that Danir found resting under the cot.
It's a lot, I know. Just take a deep breath and breathe.
They're dead. They're dead.
Engineer's going to attempt to work to at least try to calm him just a little bit. He knows that likely the nerves are very, very raw, emotions are very high, so he's going to keep his tone kind of low and just be there with him so that the presence will help kind of hopefully comfort a little bit.
He still can't seem to gather words to put out right now. He's breathing like he seems to be having a panic attack right now.
And I can't calm emotions.
His eyes just kind of like are darting around the room as he's like breathing rapidly.
Wolfgang will make sure he'll try to lock eyes with Gideon. Son, we need you to know that you're safe here. Nothing's going to hurt you. And we are going to get to the bottom of this together. You understand me, son?
Give me a persuasion with disadvantage.
Persuasion. Okay. That's a natural one.
Well, yeah, I don't think you need to roll a second time. As you say that, you can see that he starts breathing even more rapidly. Danir, the hair on your neck kind of stands on end for a moment. You're not entirely sure why. Give me a perception check.
I have an instinct. Nat 20.
Okay.
Is Thermian's whiskers
so
twitching?
good.
What's that?
Is Thermian's whiskers twitching?
They are. Furthermore, you notice that the spell surge shielding around the room has started to light up. You have, as Gideon's eyes also begin to light up, something magical, like he's about to surge.
Can I attempt to counterspell it?
You absolutely may.
I will counterspell. Danir's going to yell, "Surge!" And then he thrusts his hands out and he attempts to counterspell the surge.
All right, what level are you going to cast it at?
Given that I don't know exactly what this is, I'm burning a 6th level to counterspell it.
All right. He begins to fade for a moment, as if like the core of him begins to kind of like light up as if he was about to teleport somewhere, but then you stop him.
Teleport?
What?
It seemed like some form of conjuration magic. Yes. And as that fades, he is still very much panicking, but Thermion at this point kind of like walks up and just kind of like grabs his other shoulder, almost shoving you aside, Wolfgang, for a moment, or like just kind of getting around you and just kind of like bumping you.
Calm yourself, boy.
I'm sorry.
Is all he can say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Can I insight if he's apologizing about the surge or about the memory that's changed?
You can try, but he's so full of emotions, this will be a disadvantage.
Okay. That's an 8.
It could be either.
Mm-hmm.
But you do see, as Thermion's eyes light up for a moment. And you can see the calm nature on his face turn into a disappointed frown. And he takes his hand off of Gideon.
He looks over towards Thermion. What did you see?
I saw an axe caving in the skull of Aiden Moore.
Who was holding it?
It was a first-person view. From his perspective.
And he looks at Gideon. And Gideon just kind of like shaking in his seat.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And Kylan. He looks over towards Thermion.
He nods as the boy falls into uncontrollable weeping.
A look of sadness and disappointment crosses his face as he looks down at Gideon.
He's kind of curling himself up into a, like on his back fetal position. His eyes are just welled with tears, and all he can do is just mutter, "I'm sorry," or mouth the words when the air doesn't come to his lungs.
I'm going to attempt to activate the gift of Arcanos, Lani.
And what spell do you wish to activate through his gift?
Sleep.
Simple enough. With a 16, I believe that works.
Mm-hmm.
You put
I
your
will burn a 4th level spell slot to attempt to put Gideon to sleep.
He doesn't have that much HP, but you hold your hand up to his eyes, and a calming purple glow with the scent of lavender kind of fills the air for a moment. And his body starts to weaken and lie still. And his sobs slowly turn into the deep breath of a deep, deep slumber. And as you sit there pondering what to do with this young murderer, here is where we will end today's session.